And we are starting off in Capitol Hill. This is a live look on the Senate floor where Senator Cory Booker is giving a marathon speech. The New Jersey Democrat has been speaking for more than 16 hours now, starting last night and going into the morning hours. The purpose? He is speaking out against the policies of the Trump administration. Senator Booker says he plans to speak for as long as he is physically able. Let's take a listen from earlier.
I rise tonight because I believe sincerely that our country is in crisis. And I believe that not in a partisan sense, because so many of the people that have been reaching out to my office in pain, in fear, having their lives upended, so many of them identify themselves as Republicans. I am going to fight for your Social Security. I'm going to fight to protect the agency. I'm going to fight against unnecessary cuts that hurt the service it gives. And today into tomorrow, I'm going to stand as long as I can. As long as I can, I'm going to stand and read stories like this. People that are scared right now, terrified right now, people living in rural areas that see their local Social Security agency on a list that Elon Musk put of places he's going to sell away to the private sector, and you're going to lose your agencies. Well, I will fight. Please let me know how you are responding to this situation and what steps you, Senator Booker, are taking to defend our Constitution and the rule of law. Thank you for your time, and I look forward from hearing from you soon. I hope at this early morning hour at almost 8 o'clock that maybe you are listening, because I hear you, I see you.
Okay, now let's get to CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion. Nikole, what else can you tell us, and what's the response from fellow Congress members so far?
Yeah, well, obviously this was a part, and if you've listened to any portions beyond the sound bites we just played of Senator Booker's speech, you know, he is really doing this in protest of a number of Trump administration policies, whether it is DOGE cuts proposed by Elon Musk, whether it is the president's recent executive order to dismantle the Department of Education, whether it is the recent shuttering of USAID, Republican efforts to try to gut Medicaid and Social Security, the president's mass deportation plans. The laundry list is long for Senator Booker, and some of the policies with respect to the president that he takes issue with. So that is what he is doing for the better part of over 16 hours as he continues to hold the Senate floor. In terms of his Senate colleagues, he's gotten an assist by many Senate Democrats who have given him a break in speaking by asking him questions, and then they've kind of been having an exchange with him back and forth. But he has to stand there. He can't sit down. He can't walk off the floor. So really these kind of Q&As with his respective Democrats are just designed to give him a speaking break only. So he has said that he still has a lot left in his tank. Unclear how much longer he will go, but certainly he is going on, like I said, maybe about 16 hours now with no potential end in sight.
Yeah, you got to wonder just how much energy he has left in him. Nikole, the role of federal judges has really come into play in recent weeks as the Trump administration is facing mounting legal challenges on a number of policies. And a House hearing today is addressing the power of the judicial branch. What are we learning from that hearing?
Well, this is a hearing that was convened in part out of concern on the part of some Republicans with respect to what they believe is an ongoing weaponization of the justice system against the president. They are also concerned about what they claim are so-called activist judges that they believe have kind of taken their duties and responsibilities too far, namely, for instance, Judge Boasberg, who right now has presided over a number of cases involving the president. So that being said, many Democrats, though, are railing against even holding this hearing, pointing out, for instance, in the case of Judge Boasberg, that he was actually appointed by a Republican president, by the former President George Bush. So really decrying these efforts by even some Republicans who have threatened impeachment against some of these judges. But at the end of the day, this is really an attempt for House Republicans to try to figure out the path forward in in terms of their desire to rein in judges. So there is some legislation pending, for instance, that would bar district judges from imposing nationwide or federal injunctions. That seems to be the effort that's gaining the most traction over, for instance, something like trying to impeach a judge, which would be a very high bar to clear in this Congress.
Right. And Nikole, I want to ask you about this because there's been a push in the House to allow new parents to vote remotely after they have a baby. But we're now learning that measure is being blocked. Can you explain why?
Yeah, this is something that's being blocked by the Rules Committee. They have tucked this rule actually into another piece of legislation, but this is a bipartisan measure that was being pushed by Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, who's a Republican, Congresswoman Brittany Peterson, who is a Democrat, both of whom are new mothers who have said, you know, they have had to, shortly after giving birth, come to the House floor for votes. And so they are simply asking that in those cases that those members of Congress, when they have a new child, that they are allowed the opportunity to vote remotely, at least temporarily, similar to how on a job you will have parental leave. They're kind of asking for those same kind of rights for members of Congress. They have to physically be present for every vote. And of course, because the margins are so narrow in the House, that is one reason why Speaker Johnson has been critical of this proposal. Many Republican leaders are concerned that this will create a slippery slope, that then members can use this as an opportunity to try to get exemptions from voting for other matters. And so obviously there was proxy voting during the pandemic, but it has been a very heated debate here on Capitol Hill. But for now, it appears this measure is unlikely to advance.
Okay, I also want to ask you about tariffs because Senate Democrats, they drafted a resolution that would reverse President Trump's tariffs on Canada. Now, it is a long shot that would never pass the Republican-led House or even the Senate. So what exactly is the purpose for this one?
Yeah, well, there is a resolution pending on the part of Virginia Senator Tim Kaine that would basically kind of remove that emergency declaration that is required or part of the rationale in the president enacting his tariffs. And so this is going to potentially be a test. Obviously, we talked earlier about Senator Booker holding the floor. So long as he's doing that, we will not see a vote in the Senate. But that being said, this measure, like I said, would kind of remove that provision that would require a tariff to be enacted on the part of the president. So if there are some Republicans that cross over to support that Democratic proposal, it certainly would be interesting, given that for now many congressional Republicans seem united behind the president's stance on tariffs, although they have expressed concerns on the potential impact, particularly in their respective states. So it will be an interesting, potentially ceremonial test if this measure gains traction beyond Democratic support.
Okay, CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion, thank you so much for joining us on the stream today.